Welcome to Paris, a State of Mind. Join us as we talk about the good, the bad, the ins, the outs of property rentals and purchases in and around Paris. We'll have topics for renters, owners, and visitors, share questions we are regularly asked, and more. My name is Gail Boisclair of Perfectly Paris, and my co-host is Marie Pistinier of Lokim Paris. Be a part of it. Both of us are proud members of the SPLM, the first representative body of furnished rental professionals. Hi, Marie. How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. How are you doing, Gail?
Oh, I'm really, really good. But you know what? I was really thinking about what we talked about the last time, insurance, and that we've got so many different things to talk about. Don't you agree?
Yes, it's amazing. Like talking about insurance, we find so many topics to talk about. So I suggest we go to we could go and move forward on the difference between insurances for furnished and unfurnished place, for example, in this episode. And there is a lot to cover. So we don't know yet if we're going to do everything because we know that there is some topic on the holiday lets. So we may have no time. So maybe we'll need to do another episode.
Well, to be honest, we always seem to have to do another episode because there's so much to talk about. So, imagine I just bought my apartment and I want to move in, right this minute. What type of insurance do I need to have?
First, congratulations, Gail, for your purchase. It's very nice. And I hope you'll invite me to the crémaillère. Maybe we'll ask one of our podcasters to explain what is a crémaillère. So if you just purchase your apartment and of course you do need to have an insurance, it would be what we call a no risks insurance, like multi-risk insurances that will cover the owner, your public liability, your home, your personal belongings, as well as the household belongings. And additionally, it will cover at least the damages from fire, flooding, explosion, leaks, and this would be really a minimum. For things that could be added, such as, for example, theft, storm, vandalism, and this kind of thing, you do have really to contact your insurance and to make sure that you are really covered on that. And you have to make sure as well that you know what your deductible are, and also the value of your belongings, because you will give a value, and if you don't put that, imagine, I know, Gail, you have a lot of masterpieces like Picasso, Dali. You mentioned that in your previous podcast. So if you have this kind of thing, you do have to really put the correct value on that. And this is important to do that before you sign your insurance contract.
Oh my God. Thank you for remembering about my fabulous art. Well, yeah, that's a lot. And it's even on topic, off topic, but I did one time have a burglary and I had all kinds of jewelry, all my expensive jewelry, and now I have crap jewelry, except for what I'm wearing right now because it was on me when I was robbed. But yeah, it didn't even cover me for everything because I didn't have the proper amount disclosed in my insurance policy of what I was valued at for my contents. Anyway, now back onto topic. Can you explain the difference between what an occupying owner is and a non-occupying owner is? Sounds weird.
Sure. If a property is empty for part of the year, you should tell this to your insurance as well. Many insurance contracts are void if the property is considered as your primary home and left empty for a period of time. It could be 30 to 90 days. So you really have to precise this when you book your contract, or if your life is changing and if you happen to go abroad for many time, then definitely you have to tell that while your contract is on. So you may have to have some additional fee to pay if your residence is empty for a certain length of time.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard about that. The insurance companies kind of feel that an empty place can be at a higher risk for burglaries and things of that nature. So I guess it makes sense. I guess that also stands to reason as to why somebody who rents out their secondary home versus their primary residence will have a higher annual fee to pay as well. Like, just imagine if you left your place unattended and you go to, I don't know, Zanzibar for a month, and there's like a huge flood in your apartment building, and it's all because some silly washer broke while you were gone and you forgot to shut off the water. Did you know that you're supposed to shut off your water main supply when you go away for a while?
Yes, of course, I do that all the time. and but you also have to shut off your gas too.
Oh, the gas. In the case of non-occupying owners, is there a difference in insurance they need to get if they rent out furnished or unfurnished?
Yes, that's a very, very big difference.
Oh my God, I knew it.
But you should know the French by now, Gail. So in case of unfurnished rentals, it's pretty simpler. Simple. You have, if you have long-term tenants in your apartment, and if you are not sure about if you are going to go for furnished or unfurnished place, then you can go back to our third and fourth podcast episode about this topic. But the insurance you will get when you are unfurnished, it, as we say, I think you said in English that it's cut and dry, so pretty simple, right? And you just have to say that you are going to rent the apartment, and you have to make sure that your own tenants are going to get the insurance when they check in. If they don't have an insurance or a multi-risk insurance to cover their own liability and responsibility, you do have to definitely do not give them the keys. And I think that we mentioned that already in our previous episode.
We did. We mentioned it in, I don't know, the previous episode for insurance. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And okay, well, that was super easy. I'm guessing, though, that furnished rentals is less easy. Am I right?
Totally. Firstly, you have to break down whether you are renting for medium and long stays, or if you have more like a holiday rental for short stays.
Oh, Marie. Of course.
And I guess that you guessed already that medium and long stay will be easier to cover than for the short stay. So if you have someone renting your furnished property for medium to long stay, you just need to explain this to your company, to your insurance company. But one of the trick would be to make sure that the value of the property contents will be correct. Like, of course, if it's furnished, you may have to add like a washing machine, a TV set, and a lot of different things that will raise the value of the content of your apartment. If you don't get the correct thing, you may not be covered if there is any damages. So we can now talk about the short stays, and it's a bit trickier.
Oh, I, la, la, la. I mean, it's going to be trickier. I know it's going to be trickier. I don't even know how much trickier, but Marie, explain.
No, it's not that bad, Gail. If you rent to tourists for vacation rentals, it's something that you need to tell to your insurance company. You cannot just say, "Okay, I'm doing some kind of hair stuff." I'm not going to say some brands for a few nights. It's really important in case you have you have an issue. So the worst case scenario would be like someone completely trashes your place. So this is what you find in the news, but this is really rare. But you may have some real I don't know, some accidents, some really small things that can make your life miserable if you didn't tell your insurance that you were actually renting to tourists. And you cannot say just it was friends who were there, or if you just said, okay, I'm sorry, it was like a booking that I did through this platform, then the insurance may find this way to avoid to reimburse you for the damages.
Are we avoiding platform names for political reasons? Hmm. So I guess it's really important to let your insurer know that you have tourists staying in your place from time to time. And I guess, like, talking about that, I know a lot of people, but not me in particular, use things like key boxes. And I'm talking not about, okay, I don't use key boxes in my home. I have a normal key. I don't use key boxes and things in any of the places I rent. But I do know that some people use things like key boxes, connected locks, which I don't even really think I understand. It's too much technology for me. What happens from an insurance perspective if somebody breaks in when you've got these types of locks, like a key box or a connected lock or whatever the heck it's called?
So you're right. It's something that is pretty recent. The key box is like something that we have since a long time, but all the connected locks are really recent. It's like, it's a way to get in and out the apartment without actually a key, and that you can really get from, you can open the door from your mobile, you can open it from distance and everything. And this is new. So that means the insurance company didn't yet include all this kind of system into their coverage, meaning that if there is like someone who breaks in, even though they stole the code or even though they just break the door, you may have an issue if you didn't mention your insurance that you had some key box or some connected locks. And this would be a real issue, because they could say, okay, you didn't say the kind of thing. And so it's really important to make sure that your insurance know that. And if you feel that they are not comfortable with that, you really have to think about how you are going to do, because I would suggest really to go in with an insurance that is really aware of this kind of technology and that will be covering you whatever happens. You mentioned that you don't have this, Gail, in your real estate, in your vacation rentals, and I understand why, especially in Paris. But connected locks can be also used when you have kids, when you want to make sure that they are a safe home, that you want to open the door, and there is a lot of way to use them. So it's really important to see what can be, if it's covered or not by your old-fashioned type of insurance.
We'll be right back with Paris, A State of Mind, after a word from our sponsors. And now back to Paris, A State of Mind. It seems that as we're going on about this, it seems that there's going to be more and more questions that I'm going to have about like furnished rentals and holiday guests. And I think that we should save that all for another episode. But what I was just thinking about that's related to what we were talking about is like a simple accident. Like imagine, I don't know, I'm home, I had a long day, and remember in my last episode, I overflowed the bathtub because I was drinking champagne in it. Well, this time, instead of doing that, I'm just like, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to lie in my bed, and I throw myself on my bed because it looks so comfortable, not realizing that I actually had my computer laptop sitting on my bed. And when I did that, I actually broke it. So, like, am I covered in my insurance if I do something like that?
So most of the time, it will not be covered by your insurance, but you do have to check this from the beginning with your liability. Sometimes your liability, which is covering your insurance, can cover you for a damage that you caused to the property. I know that I mentioned that one time that we did have someone who tried to defrost it like a fridge. And, use at the end, when you have this big crunch of ice and you want just to get rid of it. And so the person took a knife and put that in the freezer, and then it started the gas was just starting to go away. And they made the insurance, but it was actually their own insurance to cover for that, because it was their liability. So she said, okay, I'm sorry, I did do a misusage and I did a mistake, but that would be covered. So it really depends. You do have to ask your home insurance. It's very good to be covered. Sometimes we do have other coverage through, I don't know, your credit card, some other type of things, but it's really something which is important to know that from the beginning. Does your liability, like, okay, you roll over the bed, would that be covered by your insurance? So I would think that it's good to ask, even though your insurance guy may be a bit reluctant to give you an insurance if you just ask question about how are you going to be covering me if I'm in trouble. But no, it's really important. But there is also what we call like an insurance, which is like accident de vie, which also exists. So you really have to dig a little more into that before you commit, and to make sure that to see what is covered. And you mentioned also holiday rentals. So yes, I think that there is a lot to cover for the next episode. because we have to talk about responsibility when a tenant does create some problem or damage the thing on purpose or not on purpose, but also what do we cover if the tenant is canceling, what do we do with the rent that the owner is supposed to have and everything. So this should be a full additional episode.
It's never easy, is it? Really? Oh, but I do have yeah, I agree. Let's do another episode and we'll finish up this one about all of that because it really makes a big difference when you've got a furnished rental and things like that. But I should have given you another example about me breaking my computer when I was on my bed, because this is actually a true story. And I don't know if my house insurance covers it, but I use Orange for my telephone and all of that. And my daughter's phone is on Orange as well too. And so one time she was here and I said, "Oh, Yasmin, do you have like laundry to do and things like that?" "Oh, sure, Mom." So she puts her stuff in the machine. I turn it on and I'm sitting at my desk and I hear do-do, do-do. Like every time it was turning around. And I said, "Yasmin, did you put shoes in the laundry or something?" And she's like, "No, Mom." And we both go toward the washing machine. And as soon as she said no, I swear it was like a commercial you see on television. All of a sudden, smack right up against the window of the washing machine was her phone. But Orange covered it, so that was okay. But I don't know if my housing insurance would have covered it. Anyway, that was slightly off topic. I learned a lot, Marie. I know you're going to ask me, and I really did learn a lot. And I think that what I learned is that I didn't learn enough and that we have to have another episode because I just didn't learn enough. So I have to learn more. What do you think?
That is a perfect plan. So I'll tell you, so see you next time around, and we'll talk about vacation rental for once, right?
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk about like rentals and I think it's completely different. I mean, I can't even imagine how we've already gone through so much for this type of insurance and we've not even touched on really like vacation rentals. Well, thank you very much as always, Marie, and see you next time.
Bye-bye. See you next time.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Paris, A State of Mind, featuring Gail of Perfectly Paris and Marie of Lokim, both who are founding members of the SPLM. Paris, A State of Mind is produced by Paris Underground Radio. The music, Jazz in Paris, is by Media Right Productions. For more information on this show and others, go to parisundergroundradio.com.